Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, and how you can build a cloud connected app in 15 minutes or less. Thank you so much for joining. We're Echo AR. It's a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps, providing tools and network infrastructure for creators and developers like yourself to build AR VR applications. I'm going to start by saying hello. I'm Alon, founder of Echo AR. We're based in New York. I did my master's at computer science at Columbia University, specializing in augmented and virtual reality, and did my undergrad in computer science electrical engineering, specializing in cloud and network infrastructure. So I'm a certified nerd and a big believer in the AR VR space. Now, I'm going to throw out these terms a lot, augmented reality, virtual reality. So let's level set them, let's define them together to level set and understand them better. And if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. So virtual reality or VR, and it was where everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed in this 3D environment, and everything you see is basically projected into your eyes through some optics, through some kind of headset that occludes what you can see. Sometimes you can use controllers to control the environment and how you engage with it, but you're basically fully kind of immersed in a 3D environment. Even the things that you can hear sometimes are controlled by the headset, as opposed to augmented reality or AR, in which we still see the real world, but that world is being overlaid with digital content and CGI, computer generated imagery, that basically kind of adds to the world around us. You're looking at the world through some optical see through, like a headset or glasses, or a camera see through, like a tablet or a phone. Now, in order to understand these concepts, one of the best ways to do that is to reference the amazing movie Space Jam, in which we have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. Everything around him is a cartoon when he goes to Looney Town. That's a really good example of virtual reality, VR. Again, everything around him is a cartoon, is interacting with the bugs and the other Looney Tunes in a fully kind of CGI world, as opposed to what we have later in the movie, in which we have bugs kind of and the Looney Tunes coming to us, interacting with Michael Jordan in the real court, with Bill Murray playing around in our environment. So that's the kind of big differentiation um, between augmented reality and virtual reality, basically kind of allowing us to understand it's either us being teleported into Looney Town or Looney Town being teleported to us. A real world example is that is something that you all know. Things like Pokemon Go, that people are running around interacting with digital monsters that are not actually there. That's a really good example of augmented reality. Or in virtual reality, you have something like Beat Saber, a really popular game where you slash cubes based on the rhythm of the music, in a fully kind of CGI immersed environment. Another example that is really close to my heart is, and the pun is definitely intended, is the thesis project I did back at Columbia University. We took CT and MRI scans. Let's give this slide a minute to load. Perfect. We took CT and MRI scans, converted them into 3D models, and basically built an application for a physician to see the inside of the patient in real time. It was a really, really cool experience in which we basically kind of equipped the physician with 3D models in real time that allow them to understand the patient's anatomy while they're doing the surgery. It was a really, really, really cool use case of augmented reality, and basically allowed the physicians to kind of get empowered through this amazing technology. But the problem was that in order to achieve that, I had to do something I really, really hate, and that's waking up early in the morning. Had to go to the hospital at 6 a.m. every day, take those 3D scans, convert them to 3D models, rebuild the application, and deploy it to smart glasses for the physician to wear. And that process was so frustrating. It took so much time. And as a developer, I only wanted to do two things. I wanted to manage the assets, and I wanted to deliver them to an Air device. And when talking to other developers building augmented and virtual reality applications for retail and shopping and data visualization and games, they all said the same thing. There is no easy way to manage and deliver 3D data. But if you think about it, that problem was solved for what we call 2D data, right? If you want to build a website, you can use something like Heroku as your cloud platform. If you want to build a mobile app, you can use something like Parse or Firebase as the backend of the service. So we went from web to mobile to now this new technology of AR, VR, MR, 3D, call it whatever. And the question has to be asked, who's going to build that cloud platform? And you've guessed it, that's us. So basically, EchoAR is a cloud platform for augmented virtual reality, providing tools and network infrastructure for developers like yourself to build applications at scale. Super excited about this workshop. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're here through a hackathon, definitely kind of reference the affiliated link that we shared with the hackathon organizers to get free access to our premium tiers. So definitely kind of take advantage of that perk through the event. Same thing if you're here through a club that we're affiliated with. But again, great to be here, and thanks for the organizers. Now, let's kind of dive in a little bit into a few concepts and then share demos and then do some coding together. So think about it. You don't need to be a web developer to update a blog post. You can just drag and drop an image or video, suddenly that appears in web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and we're both watching an episode on Netflix, we automatically get the best streaming experience. So we kind of translated these concepts into augmented virtual reality, providing you with a way to manage and deliver 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this kind of bi-directional connection between data and content. You as a user can't move an image or a video on a website, but you can definitely move a 3D couch across the room, and that needs to be updated on the cloud. So this video we've built this kind of content management system and delivery network specifically for 3D. You can go to our website to register, or again, as I mentioned, use the affiliated link that we provided with the event organizers to basically provide you with premium access for free. Definitely take advantage of that perk, and kind of let's dive in and how to build applications. Perfect. So after you go to our website to register for your API key, you're going to get access to the console. So the console is what you see on the left. On the right, you just see my phone. And basically, after you register, again, you get this API key. This is my API key. And you can start building AI applications really, really quickly. So let's see how we can do that. So we're going to start by adding some content to the cloud. You can add your own images, videos, 3D models, or you can use some of the ones that we have here as 3D samples. We also have this kind of cute search engine. You can search for 3D models really rapidly for free for you to use in your project. I'm going to start with something simple. I'm going to upload this Empire State 3D model to our console. It's the same 3D model that is used for 3D printing. We take that model, we convert, compress, and analyze it. So we'll work on Android and iOS and Magic Leap and HoloLens and all these different AR platforms. Once it's done, I'm able to see it right here in 3D. But now let's put it in augmented reality automatically. Let's build our app. So what we can do right here is we can, first of all, download one of our sample apps, and I encourage you to do that to play around with them, or use one of our SDKs to build an app. Later, we're going to do that with Unity. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open that sample app right here. I'm going to plug in my API key, so the same key that I got when I registered. So let's plug that in. Perfect. Data will stream from the cloud to the device. The camera will instantiate. You're now seeing my apartment right here. Camera recognizes a floor, and voila, the Empire State is here with me. I can walk around it, walk inside. Super, super simple. How cool is that? But what happens if I want to change this to something else? So instead of rebuilding the application or doing anything technical, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here, delete the previous entry, upload something else, and that will update automatically. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to throw that in, choose some different 3D model. Same process will occur. We're going to take that 3D model, convert and compress it to the cloud. And then when that's done, I'm going to open the sample app. Again, you can download the sample app right here. Plug in my API key. Stream the data from the cloud to the device. And now when the camera recognizes the floor and I tap the screen, there you go. We see the different building kind of overlaid automatically. Super, super simple. Now, this is an example of mobile app, basically a native app that you can install on your device. But as I mentioned, because we're a cloud, we're kind of agnostic and we can kind of send the data anywhere you want. So another example of AR that I can show you is web. So let's say we work with a company in the art space that had an art gallery. They don't want people to install anything. They want them to randomly walk into the art gallery and kind of see 3D models around them. So we support web AR, basically native web, so you don't have to kind of install an app. You click this button right here, it will open a QR code that you can scan. I'm going to do it right now. I kind of encourage you all to use your phones right now if you're watching this live to kind of scan this QR code with me, open a phone. Most apps, like phone apps on iPhone and iOS, already have their own kind of QR code scanner or reader built into the camera. It will redirect you to a website. You don't have to install anything. As you can see, what happened after I scanned it, it kind of redirected me to this website. I can see the 3D model right here. And now I can click CNAR. So let's do that together. Camera will instantiate through the web. You don't have to install anything. And voila, I'm able to see this building right here. Super simple through web without installing anything. How cool is that? So I'm going to leave the QR code for you to scan so you can see this building right here in your place. So I'm going to kind of leave it here for now. But let's kind of recap. We saw mobile, we saw web. Another example of something we can see is Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use, and I'm going to open a Unity-based app right here. It will stream, again, the data from the cloud to the app. No surprises there. Camera recognizes the floor. We're going to see that building right here. Already used to that. But now what I want to show you is, let's say we want to change something. Let's say we want this to animate in real time. So what we can do is we can go back here, click this button right here to kind of open the data panel, and then add some animation. Let's say, for example, I want to do direction equals right. So let's do that. Bam, suddenly it starts to rotate in real time. How cool is that? Or let's say I want to make it scale twice that size. Bam, suddenly it kind of blew up. So this is a really, really kind of simple examples to show you how you can change things in real time, how you can push updates to the cloud, and then to the device automatically. Super, super simple. And really, again, really effective because you can kind of control your app remotely. Awesome. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. Now, so what we saw so far, we saw mobile, we saw web, we saw Unity, but everything we saw so far was the camera basically recognizing the floor and allowing the data to kind of overlay that surface. It can be a table, a chair, whatever. Another technology support is image recognition. It's basically another form of augmented reality in which the camera recognizes an image as opposed to a surface. So let's see how that works. So we can click this button right here that basically kind of generates a QR code. And instead of doing see on the floor, we can do see on an image. And now let's scan this QR code again. Again, if you're watching this stream live, you can scan it with me. Just put your phone in front of this. It will redirect you to a website. Again, you don't have to install anything. Now, because it's image recognition, place your phone in front of the QR code at all times. And bam, suddenly you see that building kind of is overlaid on that image and it pops out of my screen as opposed to being on the floor. Super, super cool example, again, just to show you what you can do with image recognition. This image could be anything you want. It could be a business card that kind of, and then you overlay it with the videos talking about yourself. It could be a magazine and then you're overlaying it with an ad. Really, really cool stuff. And maybe I'll show it to you right now how you can do that. So if I want to upload different type of content, and let's say it's a 3D file, let's upload a video. So I'm going to throw in just an MP4 file right here, and I'm going to add an image to it. So as opposed to having putting it on the floor, I want to put it on an image. So let's choose an image, upload that to the cloud. Same process occurs, but now we're kind of converting images and videos. While that is uploading, let's upload another type of content. Let's upload, again, just a 3D file. But let's say we want to put it in a specific location. So I'm going to put this 3D file in New York. This means that you can build an app that when it opens in New York, you'll see the Empire State Building, but when it opens in San Francisco, you're going to see the Golden Gate Bridge. So let's upload that as well. I can see that the video is already kind of here. And you can see the difference. Like here we have the kind of surface, here we have the image, here we have the location. Now, what I want to show you is, let's say we want to scan this image and see the video in augmented reality. So again, if you're watching live, you can scan this with me. Scanning the QR code with my phone redirects to a website. I don't have to install anything. But now, when the kind of app, the web app opens, the camera doesn't recognize the QR code anymore. Why is that? As again, we mentioned, we have a custom image that's being recognized. So let's open that custom image and put our phone in front of it. There you go. And voila, we have this image, and suddenly the video kind of overlays that. And I kind of click the screen and play around with it to enlarge it with my fingers. But there you go. You have a video playing on top of an image. Very, very cool use of augmented reality. Super easy to set up. And again, you can use any image that you want. Just make sure that it's kind of pretty visible and has colors and contrast. That could be really cool. Perfect. So we saw images, videos, 3D models, animations. What else can we do? So as I mentioned, this is the downloads menu. It allows you to kind of download the sample apps and different SDKs. You can switch their theme, which is really cool, dark being the default. And we also have like a bunch of resources for you all to kind of use. So the best resource is our documentation. This is a step-by-step guide of everything I did so far, how to get a key, how to access the console, how to add a 3D model, how to see it. Really, really cool stuff accompanied with GIFs that you can kind of interact with. I'm going to share the link right here. Another really cool resource is our GitHub page. It is filled with amazing projects that are all open source that I'm going to share with you in a sec, that you can kind of build applications with. They're open source. If you're here from a hackathon, this is perfect for you to kind of get started. You can just take one of these kind of examples and build upon that. Let's see a few really cool examples that I can share. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's open this one as well. And let's do another example. Let's do this one, and let's do this one. And I'm going to share the link as well here. So there you go. So for example, here's a example that you can build some election visualizer, throw in 3D models, videos, and kind of stream data based on results in real time. Here's an example of a living room inside a living room that you kind of binge watch a movie in 3D. Here's another example of a face swap that you can do by uploading an image that kind of overlays your face. Again, all open source that you can use. Here's a COVID visualizer that later we're going to build together. So going to kind of show different places around the world how they are affected by COVID. A remote work example that you can have a person's hologram kind of talking with the person, so you're uploading a 3D model and adding some text to it. Here's an example of image recognition that kind of overlays the images with videos. We have a question in the chat. Does the video only take the shape of the image? So it doesn't have to. Like you saw, I was able to scale it with my fingers, just kind of do the touch gesture to kind of change the size. You can definitely do that. The default is the shape, the kind of the size of the picture, though. But great question. So other resources that we have our GitHub. So we have our docs, we have our GitHub. We have our Slack channel that if you have any questions, feel free to join and ask. It's the best place to ask questions from our support team, and I'll try to stick around there to kind of answer questions as well. So definitely join that Slack channel. I just shared the link in the chat. Also, you can always kind of feel free to reach out or tweet us. Another cool resource is, again, that you can always, once you upload a 3D model, for example, you can share that automatically with friends. So there you go. I can share this Arctic Fox with you all by just like giving you this link that will work up until the point that I'll delete this fox. So you can kind of always go to this link through your mobile phone and see that fox. What else can we do? So we can manage data like we saw earlier, specifically for different assets, but we can also manage data across the kind of entire project. We worked with a company, for example, that had kind of did a murder mystery game, kind of a scavenger hunt game in AR. So they had different models associated with different scenes, but they also have data across the entire app, for example. Another thing that you can do is to kind of manage your subscription. You can see how much API calls you're making, how much bandwidth and storage you're using. If you're using an affiliate link for a hackathon organizer, you're going to get this tier for free. So definitely take advantage of that perk. Locations allow you to kind of see the distribution of content. Remember, we added that Fox in New York. So there it is. You see the servers are supporting your application. And the security page, you're able to add other users to your project, so you can kind of collaborate. If you're working as a team in a hackathon, that could be perfect. If you're working in a team in general, you can, again, kind of collaborate with people on the same project. So definitely take advantage of that. And since it's a really powerful page, shows you some kind of information about your project. For example, what we just streamed this apartment building, so we see kind of a spike in usage. Same with the video that I just streamed. You can see when it was used. You can see more information about how the project is being used. Users is a cool page, allows you to see the distribution of users. Tutorials is a powerful page that basically allows you to kind of see frequently asked questions, links to our documentation, GitHub, different projects that you can kind of, again, they're pretty, like they're all open source. You can just take and kind of build upon. And the inspiration page was like my favorite page that has so many really cool AR, VR examples of projects that you can build. And some are obviously powered by Echo AR, like the art installation that I mentioned, or the murder mystery game, or project that we did with Verizon 5G. Really, really cool stuff around gaming, and even COVID-19 recently, people built a lot of really cool projects. So gaming and data navigation and games and using image detection and game engines and things for healthcare and data science. So definitely check it out. It's really cool. Like this mask visualizer, really, really cool stuff that you should definitely kind of check out. We have a question. Does this use TensorFlow since it's runs to the web? No, it does not use TensorFlow. But if you want to build a TensorFlow project, you can, and find a way to integrate AR somehow with it. That could be like a really cool winning project in the hackathon, I think. Perfect. So we saw, let's recap a little bit. So we saw how you can upload content really quickly. You can upload 3D models, animations, interactive content, how you can see 3D models on the floor, on an image, how you can see videos, how you can see 3D models, and all like, again, like really, really quickly. And now, let's see what we have here. We have a question in the chat. When I go to the website, make sure you load your key. Maybe your key isn't loaded, or try to log in, logging out. And if not, reach out to the support team on our Slack. We have another question. How do I integrate text bar, chat pop-ups, animated? So you'll have to build in these features yourself. We're going to show how you can build an application in Unity. Specifically for text, you can kind of, in our documentation, I really recommend that you read it, but like you can actually add text to web experiences as well. Like if you go here and go to like the web section, you can see how you can interact with it and how you can add text to the model, like stuff like that, like add annotations. So definitely look at that if that works for what you want. But if not, you can use Unity to basically add any features that you want in your application. And now we're going to see how to do that. So great question so far, everyone. So let's transition into a more technical part of the workshop and build an application in Unity. So download our Unity SDK by clicking here. We'll download the file that you can integrate into Unity. That's our SDK. You can either double click that file or kind of import that into Unity. Now, this is Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use to build applications. It's really, really cool, really, really easy to use. It basically allows you to kind of build 3D models, 3D games, AR, VR apps, really, really something cool. Now, what I'm going to show you is basically how to build an app. Once you integrate our SDK to it, you should see this empty scene in the Echo AR folder. When I go there and open the sample scene, I should see this empty scene right here. Now, to start, I'm going to click the Echo AR object. Again, the scene is totally empty. There's nothing here. And now I'm going to plug in my API key. So it's the same key that you get when you register. So if I plug in right here, I'll see that. There we go. Pressing play, data will stream from the cloud to the game engine, and voila, how cool is that? I'm able to see the video, I'm able to see the 3D model spinning, the fox is a little bit occluded. But let's maybe delete the video. There we go. Bam, you see like the video kind of automatically disappears from the game engine. Let's move the fox a little bit because it's occluded, so let's put it like 10 feet away. Bam, see how cool it is? Like I can like post changes on the console, automatically they change in the game engine. If I make it stop playing, everything disappears. Remember, everything doesn't actually persist on memory. It all persists in the cloud. So this means that your app, when you build it, will be super, super small, and the data will only come from the cloud when you press play and activate the application. If I restart the application, data again will stream from the cloud to the game engine, and voila, everything is back to normal. But check out how cool is this, that what we have here is we have this basically this kind of stateful content management system. It remembers the state. The building is still rotating. The fox is 10 feet away from the building still. And the changes are happening in real time. So this is really, really cool. You can always kind of reconstruct your scene after you kind of stop the application. So I'm going to delete that part of my building, and I'm going to move the fox back to the center. There we go. We have a question here. Can we build entire tutorial kind of scenario? Yeah, definitely, 100%. You're limited only by your imagination. Definitely. And reference some of the open source examples that we have that might be helpful. Okay, so we have the fox right here called Arctic Fox. And now let's say we want to change something. So we already know how to stream data to the application. Now let's add some custom features. So the cool thing about XLR is that every 3D model has this custom behavior script attached to it. And this is a script that we can change to add functionality. So let's see how that works. So this is the custom behavior script right here. Let's read it together and see how we can build that. Question, Flutter. Yeah, so we have a Flutter SDK and a full of Flutter example right here. Maybe I'll share that you can kind of reference if you want to build something with Flutter. So definitely check that out. And here is a full example with Unity that you can reference that is like really, really powerful. Both Flutter and Unity build seamlessly to both iOS and Android, so I recommend using them. Definitely Unity, obviously, because I'm showing you how to do it right now. Okay, so we want to edit the custom behavior script to add some functionality to our 3D model. So for example, I want you to kind of review the script. This is a script in C# in Unity format. So if you know C#, perfect. But if you know Java or other object-oriented language, you should be good. We have two major functions here. One is the start function, evidenced by its name, happens when you start the application. And basically what we have here is the snippet of code that adds some functionality, adds a script to it, and then asks, do I have any additional data? If I do I have an additional data called name? And if that's the case, set the name of the object to that name. Aside from that, we have the update function. This is a really interesting function. It happens every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D. This means that there's a script kind of running in the background. There's a scene being rendered. There's frames of video rendering on your phone. And this means that this function will kind of happen every single frame. Make sure to remember your CS fundamentals and make sure that the complexity of this app is okay. Because if not, it's going to hang or get stuck. And then your entire application will get hang or get stuck because, again, it happens every single frame. Well, let's see what we have here. So I'm going to, we know that it could be a name. Like I can add any text here, but we know that it expects a name. So let's add a name like Kevin for our fox and press play. Data will stream from the cloud to the game engine again. And there you go. We have our fox, but now it's named Kevin. How cool is that? So super, super simple. Now, if I want to change Kevin the fox to something else, what happens when I change this to, let's say, Sam? Nothing happens. Why is that? Because that snippet of code that kind of handles the feature of naming happens in the start function, which means only when I start the application. So if I restart the application right here, we will get Sam the fox. But how do I make this happen every single frame? How do I make it happen every time? So you guessed it, I can move that snippet of code from the start function to the update function. And when I do that, every single frame, we're going to ask, do I have any additional data? If I do I have a name? And if that's the case, change the name of the model to that 3D model. So super simple. And then that will kind of allow you to do changes in real time. If I press play now, data will stream from the cloud to the device. We'll have Sam the fox. But then if I change the name from Sam to Kevin, bam, suddenly it's called Kevin. You see how it changes automatically. So really, really easy way for you to kind of upload the content, upload data, any data that you want, any key and value. Basically allows you to control if flows, control features remotely, disable or enable features. Really, really cool stuff that you can kind of do directly. So I can, again, definitely recommend that you play around with it and add your own features. Perfect. So we saw how we can stream data. We saw how we can do real-time updates. We saw how you can kind of change things remotely. We saw how to edit code. Now let's transition into a more kind of sophisticated example. We're going to recreate this example right here together. So let me kind of delete this. Let's upload a new file. So I'm going to throw in, and again, it kind of deleted it in real time. I'm going to throw in a file from my computer. Let's take this 3D model, for example, of planet Earth. And I'm also going to attach a CSV file, an Excel file with it that basically already has these kind of keys and values preloaded. Our system will parse that data and automatically assign that to the 3D model, so you don't have to kind of do this manual work of plugging in all the 3D coordinates and stuff like that. So I'm going to throw in that process, posting it to our cloud. Same process occurs. Now we kind of convert that 3D model, but also have that CSV file attached. I'm also going to swap the custom behavior script under the hood. So let's do that. Perfect. And let's review that script together. So it's a bit different now. So now our custom behavior script has a lot more going on. We have an array of continents. We have a dictionary. We have some data structure. The start function looks pretty much the same. Oh, there we go. We have Earth right here already kind of uploaded to our console. And if we check the data panel, we see that it has all these different data points kind of pre-integrated. Perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. And in the script now, let's look at the update function. That is much more interesting. So what do we have here? In the update function, we're asking, do I have any additional data? If I do I have an additional data called scale? If that's the case, parse that scale to a number. Then we're going to iterate over all continents. We're going to ask, do I have a data point associated with a continent? If that's the case, parse the number that is associated with it as a number of cases, of COVID cases. Then we're going to ask, do I have a graph? If so, let's kind of set the graph to the size of cases. If not, let's create a graph. Let's give it a color, create a cylinder with a color, with a name, give it a specific location, a specific size, maybe add text to it. We had a question earlier about adding text. You can do that through code as well. And if we don't have a hit for that specific continent, we can just delete it. So let's see how that works in practice. So when I press play, data will stream from the cloud to the game engine. Now our script does some extra stuff, so we can see that. But there we go. We see our beautiful Earth spinning right here, and we see all these graphs being automatically created. Really, really cool stuff. Again, this is an open source example that you can kind of use. It's totally open source, and you can kind of use that. And see if I change things in real time. Let's say I want to change Antarctica from 1 to 8. Bam, suddenly it changes in real time. So this is a really cool kind of data visualizer example that you can take. And you're going to kind of be able to, again, open source that right here. I'm going to share that link here and play around with you all. Really, really cool stuff. We have a question about how to download Unity. Okay, so again, just reference our documentation. Go here. I'm going to share that link here. But you can, like everything is going to just download Unity through here, this link, and then you can kind of follow everything. So if you have any questions, go to the documentation or reach out to our support team on Slack. That again, I shared the link earlier. Another question. Oh, it's the same question on Flutter. Yeah, so I'm not sure I get that question specifically, but you can use Flutter and Echo AR really easily in augmented reality. Here's the link I shared for a specific Flutter project, and here's our Flutter SDK. Really easy. You can do something really, really cool. Perfect. And now if I delete Antarctica, for example, from our data points, bam, suddenly that graph disappears. So this is a really cool, simple example to show how you can visualize data, how you can stream data, how you can create kind of constructs based on that data and play around with it. Really, really cool stuff. Dart code. Yeah, so as I mentioned, there's a completely open source example of Flutter plus Echo AR already integrated with the Unity, with everything. Here's the link again in the chat. But again, just reference our documentation. If you have any questions about Flutter specifically, there you go. There's a section on Flutter. You can kind of look at that. So it's kind of go through and read through the documentation. Perfect. So we saw mobile, we saw web, we saw Unity, we saw 3D model, we saw images, we saw videos, we saw how you can stream data to a game engine, how you can add content, how you can add features. Really, really, really cool stuff. We saw that you as a developer can choose any platform, if it's, again, Android, iOS, or web, or headset. We saw everything that we did in the beginning of the workshop was really non-technical. Even if you're not a coder, you can drag and drop 3D models, automatically see them in AR through our sample app or through the QR code web AR integration. We built, store, and deliver that data everywhere on the planet for you to use really easily. You obviously save time and money. If you're non-technical, you kind of don't need technical skills to do that, and companies can send data all over the world with Echo AR. We talked about use cases like healthcare and data visualization and games and advertising. We saw the inspiration page that is filled with amazing examples of AR, VR that were powered by Echo AR, and I really am excited to see what you're going to build and share with us so we can feature you in our newsletter and feature you in the inspiration page for other people in the community to kind of engage with. a little bit of us, the company. We won a bunch of awards. We are backed by some of the most amazing investors in the country, and we're featured in all these amazing tech events. Hopefully, when things are back to normal, you'll be able to see our team in the next tech event closest to you. We'd love to say that we power kind of experiences across all platforms. So definitely kind of start building things. As we talked about earlier, you're limited only by your imagination. Start building really cool AR/VR applications that's shared with the community. Make sure you register for an API key on our website or use the affiliated link that we provided with the club leaders or the hackathon organizers. And yeah, thank you so much for joining this workshop. Had a blast with you all. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on our Slack channel. Again, I shared the link earlier. Thank you so much. Again, build amazing stuff in AR, VR, and 3D. This is definitely the time to build. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. And if not, really appreciate you joining this workshop and have a fantastic, fantastic weekend. We have a question about associated app. I assume that you downloaded the SDK but did not install Unity correctly. So go to the Unity website, install Unity, have that game engine installed, and then you'll be able to kind of import the SDK really easily, and then you won't get that error. And if you still get that error, send a screenshot to our support team on Slack. So just again, maybe I'll share that link to Slack one more time, so there'd be no confusion. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. If there's no more questions, have a fantastic weekend, fantastic event, and thank you so much for everyone for being here. Have a good one. Bye-bye for now.